Wow, I'm gonna say she went down in an airplane, fried, getting suntan, getting a...
How's it going, my evil residents? Today we're going to take a look at Resident Evil 4 Remake and figure out just how much plot armor Leon Kennedy has. Y'all really liked the episode on Resident Evil 3 Remake, so we are going to continue it with this game. We're going to tally up every time Leon should have died, his injuries, and how much his medical bills would be in order to treat said injuries. We will also be tallying every time a character survives something out of sheer luck that is more based around the writing of the game. We'll call these Chief tokens, which are named after Master Chief from the Halo series. His main trait is that he's lucky, and it's a catchy name, and I like Halo, so that's why I picked that name. I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into the video. If you end up liking it, drop a like. After trespassing on this property without probable cause, Leon ends up investigating this guy's upper room and jumps out of the window, likely bruising something and at worst fracturing something.
Let myself out.
Even with the tuck and roll maneuver from a second story window, you can still injure yourself. I'm gonna charge this as a level mount because it's not likely he injured something as he is a trained government agent, but this technique of landing works best on a slanted floor. This is not a slanted floor, so he would likely bruise or hurt something. I'm gonna charge $500 in medical fees for this. Next up, we are gonna talk about the absolutely gorgeous knife parry of the chainsaw. I'm gonna just be honest with you up front here. Leon would die doing this. There is a very slim chance he would not die doing this, but it's more than likely that this would just kill him. A sturdy knife, to start off, can parry a chainsaw. If it is a well-built, good quality, most likely very expensive knife, it could do this with the chainsaw. But either the chain would snap on the chainsaw and likely hit the person parrying the chainsaw in the face, stunning and lashing their face, causing death in a combat environment because he would be basically defenseless because he just got lashed in the face by a incredibly fast chainsaw chain. Or the chainsaw wielder could just move the chainsaw and like cut off his hands or something like that. So yeah, Leon would most likely die from this. We are going to charge Leon less in funeral expenses than we did Jill because he is a member of the US government and technically the US military. Since he is a secret agent, he would get a military man's death and a military discount for the funeral for when a veteran has passed. So we're only going to charge $3,000 for funeral expenses for Leon. This will be the first $3,000 right here. Leon falling from the top of the clock tower I don't think would kill him because it's about 3 stories up, but seeing as he is completely unprepared for this fall onto the direct ground with no padding whatsoever, he would have 2 severely broken legs. Not only would his bones be completely shattered, there would also probably be some internal bleeding, some internal cuts and things like that. So I'm going to charge $90,000. That would be about $45,000 to treat each broken leg because he would likely need physical therapy afterwards to help him with walking. So yeah, $90,000 for this one. Next up, a superhuman hulking man kicks Leon's chest with enough force to send him flying across the room, and this also happens when he meets Luis under that one house in that little basement thing. This would likely break his ribs and cause internal bleeding. I'm going to charge both of these right here, even though my footage corrupted on the one where he meets Luis. So this will be $35,000 for both of these injuries. Right here, we have our first Chief token because I'm just going to count this right here. I'm not going to count it every other time it happens in the story, but Leon is spared repeatedly in this game despite being the most direct threat to Salazar's plan. I understand part of Salazar's plan is to send him and Ashley infected with the Plaga back to the United States to take over the US government. I understand that that is his plan, but frankly, it's a stupid plan. Should have just infected Ashley, told no one, let Leon escape. Easy peasy. Plan would have worked because Ashley could have then infected Leon from there, infected the president from there. Plan would have worked just fine, but you know, Sadler's gonna be dumb. So Leon's getting a Chief token right here because he's very lucky that Sadler is an idiot. Now, it took me a little bit to find out which type of Viper this is, which also led me to have some trouble finding out what exactly the treatment would be for getting bit by this Viper. After researching Vipers that are native to this part of Europe, I settled on this most likely. Now, take this with a grain of salt. I'm no expert on identifying Viper species. This is most likely a stylized snub-nosed Viper. There's no Viper that I could find in this area that looks exactly like this. So I'm guessing it's this one, in which case the 6 to 8 doses of antivenom you would need to properly treat a bite from this snake would cost about $15,000. So that's how much we are going to charge him. Now right here, this is pretty similar to the fall from the top of the clock tower in the village, except it's not quite as tall and he is falling into a little bit of water. So I'm going to count this as a less severe 2 broken legs than I did before. So I'm only going to charge him 60,000 this time. He'd probably still need casts, but he probably would not need as much physical therapy to get back on his feet and walking like normal again. And right here, when Leon is fighting Del Lago, I'm going to give him a chief token because Del Lago could have just immediately chomped the boat in one piece. I don't know why Del Lago didn't immediately bite the boat. Maybe he doesn't like the taste of wood, but I don't know. Also, the boat doesn't capsize at any point in this. Even when Del Lago does a 180 under Leon, the boat magically just goes to the right instead of going under. With the way the rope is attached, that's likely what would happen, and it never does. I don't understand. So, like I said, he's getting a chief token just for the Del Lago boss fight in particular.
Think you can swallow me whole, huh?
And right after this, I am going to count another death because Leon starts passing out due to his ligma infection, and he's left unattended in a murderous, dangerous village, unconscious, with his previous injuries for many, many hours, with a unknown parasite in his body. I charged Cheel a death for the same exact thing, so it's only fair I charge Leon a death for this. Next up, when he's about to fight El Gigante, I'm going to give him another chief token because these doors flying past him do not somehow magically hit him. That is insane. If any of these doors hit him, he would probably be instantly dead. So, chief token right here. Everything seems pretty reasonable up until the COD Zombies Nocturne Totem section, where they quickly pick this place for Ashley to hide, and conveniently, it is an escape hole with no enemies on the outside of that section of the house. They're surrounding every section of the house, except for that one small section. Why? I don't know, but that is lucky as shit, and they're getting a chief token. Next up here, when Leon does his backflip to avoid the Chainsaw Sisters, styling on them even though they cannot see him through the wall, giving him a chief token for this. You know why? It's because I went through this frame by frame, right? The chainsaws come within about an inch, like less than an inch of hitting Leon. They're literally this close. That is crazy. He didn't need to be doing all that, but he did, and he nearly lost his foot for it, so he's getting a chief token for this. Sorry, Leon. Next up here, the Undertaker slaps him in the chest with his superhuman strength. I'm going to charge 12,500 for broken ribs. And this right here most likely would honestly kill him, but I don't think it would be a death. He will cause himself a death in literally like 5 seconds, but he is body slammed by a superhuman massive man through a wooden wall. Not only would pieces of wood be hitting him and stuff like that, this giant superhuman hulking man is hitting him at insane speeds, and then he falls down a story, likely breaking bones and causing significant head trauma. The treatment for the head trauma, the recovery, the rehab, all of that stuff tallies up to about $120,000. So that's how much we're going to charge him.
Hasta luego.
This barrel explodes so big that it instantly ignites this whole barn, and Leon is untouched. There are flames literally exactly behind Leon. So I'm going to count this as a death. I think this should have killed him. Feel free to disagree, but I'm counting this as a death. I'm charging funeral expenses. I'm also going to charge $500 right here for treatment for prolonged smoke inhalation. Now, it's not an incredibly long time, and it kind of varies depending on how long it took you to fight the boss. But yeah, he would need to pay for oxygen, maybe a ventilator or something like that, depending on how bad the smoke inhalation was. So, $500. Next up, right when they get to the castle, these catapult experts, these experts in firing catapults, cannot hit Leon, and they have the element of surprise on him. They get 2 chances to hit him with the element of surprise. They get neither. After that, I'm not going to count any of those hits as lucky because Leon's a secret agent and you can see him coming, so I'm just going to give him 1 chief token for surviving those first 2 hits. He got very, very lucky that they suck at their job. And next up here, when the floor gives out, I am going to give Leon some credit. He would probably expect this fall with the floor breaking. It breaks a little slower than other floors usually break when he falls. So I'll give him some credit there. But I am giving him a chief token because if he landed anywhere closer to the Gyarados, or if any of those like pieces of debris fell on the Gyarados, they likely would have broken him free, and he likely would have killed Leon. So he's getting a chief token right here.
Another one. You guys are really starting to become a giant pain in my ass.
Next up, when Leon is being silly all along the castle wall, this speeding debris like this from the Castle Gigante would most likely kill this would most likely kill Leon, and if the first batch of rocks don't kill Leon, they would severely cripple him, leaving him a bloody mess on the floor and open for a second hit from the Gigante or any of the other people around him to kill him. And right after this, again, also caused by El Gigante, I'm going to charge funeral expenses again because Leon gets punched directly by the giant through a wooden floor and is flung up in the air, and somehow has enough awareness to catch onto him and run up his arm. Next up in this little section, I'm going to give Leon another chief token because I honestly think he got really lucky that all of these knights didn't attack him at one time. Because if they did, I don't think he could take them all. And with how long it takes actually to find the blue fire, I don't know. I don't think he would have survived this if it wasn't written how it was. So I'm going to give a chief token here. Next up, when Leon gets trapped after getting all of the heads for the statue, I think he honestly should have died in this cage. The cult clearly has access to massive explosive weaponry. You can't argue that, like, the crossbows and stuff, like, yeah, he clearly is dealing with those in the cage, but they have access to RPGs and stuff, and explosives, and things like that. They could have just chucked one in there, he'd be a goner. He'd be gone. He'd be dead. So, yeah, I'm charging funeral expenses for this. For the next section that I'm charging funeral expenses for, normally for gameplay stuff, I'm not super eager to charge any injuries or funeral expenses because gameplay is going to fluctuate depending on who's playing. But that said, this particular room right here, I'm making an exception. I don't think Leon could have survived this room. Honestly, taking out 2 of those Gyarados while there's other enemies fighting him, and there's only like 2 or 3 bells in there to bait the Gyarados, I don't think Leon could have done it in real life, if I'm being honest, because the only way you get through this section is because there's a cooldown on how quickly the Gyarados are attracted to you, and Leon could not take out all these guys silently because they immediately see him, so I don't think that this would work. I think Leon would die in this room, and I'm going to charge funeral expenses. This is still sewer water. It is disgusting, and there's giant mutated insects living in it. So it's safe to say he would get dysentery, some type of bacteria or infection. There's probably polio in this water. There's probably diseases older than Mother Miranda in this water. So I'm going to charge him $5,000 as just an average for what could be expensive to treat in the water and what could be cheap to treat in the water. Average of $5,000 right here, just because I don't know exactly what could be in here. It could be literally anything. Next up, he's getting another chief token because Pisanta definitely could have turned into a Call of Duty player and just trapped him in this room, just camped in the corner, right where the only exit of the room is. And Pisanta didn't do that. He just kind of let him leave for some reason. So, chief token, kind of weirdly written. Next up, for the minecart section, this area I could give out, I don't even know how many chief tokens, but I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice. And I'm just going to charge 1 chief token for each time they do a jump in the minecart. Because I don't know if you guys played with Thomas the Tank Engine trains as a kid, but I did, and I tried to jump those things all the time. It never worked. Jumping stuff that runs on tracks just does not go well. It has to be such a precise exact jump, and there's no way. There's no way. So, 2 chief tokens right here. Later, for the Salazar boss fight, like I said, I didn't do this for RE3 Remake that much, and I'm not doing it that much here. I'm going to do it here one other time. Leon is straight up just lucky that Salazar really sucks at using his powers, because Salazar has free reign of this arena. He could basically fly around this arena with how his powers work, and he chooses to just, like, not be aggressive to Leon at all. So I think Leon should have died here, but I'm just going to charge a chief token for this. Leon is very lucky that Salazar is an idiot and sucks at using his powers.
I see you don't have a lifeguard here at your beach.
I'm not at the beach, this is a boat.
Things are pretty chill, things that I think a highly trained government agent could deal with up until the Iron Maidens. I think Leon would straight up die from one of these if they exploded next to him.
Jesus.
Because those very sharp, very dense needles flying at high speeds, high enough to ricochet off metal, and they make ding noises when they hit the walls, which means they are very strong and very powerful. Those would go into him or through him, and they're very long and very sharp. So he would straight up die. Okay, this would kill him. So I'm charging funeral expenses. And right here, since it's the only part of my footage where I recorded this happening, I am going to charge Leon $1,000 for long-term back problems caused by catching a falling person from about a story or two up many times in this game. And you can charge more if you want, if you include Ashley in her armor, but I'm just going to charge $1,000. Next up, Leon gets a chief token because Ashley limp wrists the handgun, causing it to jam, which saves Leon. If you don't know, if you don't squeeze a trigger properly with a proper grip on a handgun, you just jam the gun because the slide on Leon's handgun doesn't fully cycle because the spent casing wasn't ejected fast enough because she didn't pull the trigger fast enough for the whole mechanism to go through properly, which jammed the gun, which is why it doesn't actually fire. Yeah, just some gun nerd bullshit for you right there, and a chief token on the side.
Move out and draw fire, soldier!
Soon after this, Leon is very lucky that Krauser chose a TMP for mid-range gunfire, and is getting a chief token. If Leon did step in one of these bear traps, he would have no reason to ever suspect bear traps would be in this village. So he might step in one, and if he did, it would either sever or severely mangle Leon's leg, shattering the bones, tearing or destroying all the muscles in his leg, leaving him helpless and unable to walk. So he would likely die. If not from the wound and bleeding out, someone would see him and kill him. So charging funeral expenses right here. Also, Krauser has these mini, like ceiling-mounted guns set up, and they do aim and shoot pretty fast, and they do aim for the head. So I'm going to charge funeral expenses here. These would kill Leon instantly. They go for headshots. When Mike shows up, I'm charging funeral expenses because Mike fucking shot me. Look at this. He shot me. Mike betrayed me. So I'm charging funeral expenses. And then I am going to give out 3 more chief tokens to balance this out, because Mike saves Leon at least 3 times with the helicopter missiles and the helicopter machine guns. So 3 chief tokens right here. You could argue more, could argue less. I'm just going to give 3 as an average.
Mercy they bring. Exalt all and let it be done.
And then Leon is so incredibly lucky that Luis's lab with the thing to remove the plaga is right down the hall from the worship and sacrifice area that Sadler was using. Why are they so close together? What? I'm charging a chief token for this. He is so lucky that they built these 2 things so close together. Why would he sacrifice her right next to the area where she could easily be cured if Leon caught up with her? I don't understand. Chief token. Okay, he's getting a chief token for this. And then here, I don't normally send boss fights, but Sadler could have instantly squashed Leon at any point during this boss fight. You see how fast he can fling the tentacles when he wants to, so charge your funeral expenses again. In classic Resident Evil fashion, Leon gets the fancy rocket launcher that Ada found, and he's getting another chief token because not only is there a convenient, cool, fancy rocket launcher, Ada brought it to him.
Ride's here. You coming?
I think we both know this is where we go our separate ways.
Then at the end here, I am charging 6 chief tokens because they narrowly avoid 6 falling boulders that would instantly kill them. You could argue more, you could argue less. I'm charging 6 as an average though, and then they epically escape. Woo! So, yeah. Now that we have gone through the entire game and done all of that, we're gonna look at the final numbers. I counted about 15 times where Leon, for all intents and purposes, should have fucking died. Yeah, 15 deaths. I didn't count Jill's. I probably should have counted that. I will put on screen and compare it right here. Next up, Leon's medical bills are lower than Jill's, but I did lowball a lot of Leon's numbers because I wasn't sure how to calculate a lot of the stuff that happened to him, especially since he shows no signs of pain and he has the flaga inside of him. So it's really hard to tell how much his injuries would hurt and how much to charge him. So he's getting charged $594,500 with his funeral expenses and medical bills combined. And then the amount of luck this man has is insane. He is getting 28 chief tokens. 28. I will go back and see how many Jill would have gotten in RE3 Remake, and I will compare them on the screen right here. So, safe to say, somehow, in some way, Leon has more plot armor than Jill. That is insane. Like, I'm genuinely baffled. I thought RE3R Jill was like top of the food chain as far as plot armor, but no, Leon definitely topped her. That's why I did the first video on Jill, because I thought she clearly has so much plot armor. So I'm just going to start here. But Leon definitely has more. So that's pretty crazy. If you guys want another video in this series, feel free to let me know. Some people have been asking to do one on Ethan from RE7 and 8, which I might do. There's a glaring technicality there that I won't talk about in case you haven't played that game and are watching this. But if there's another character you would like me to do a plot armor video on, please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, drop a like. If you want to see more content like this, suplex that subscribe button and body slam that notification bell if you want to know whenever I upload. We also do have channel memberships up on the channel starting at 99 cents if you want to help me out with improving this channel. All of the money from the memberships and this channel in general go right back into the channel. So yeah, I would greatly appreciate it. Even if you didn't do any of that stuff, I still deeply appreciate you watching and enjoying the video. And yeah, stay evil, my residents.